Hey, what is going on, y'all? I just wanted to show you something that was unexpected, honestly. I like the measured assembly gear set and everything, but it's not really something I would like to use in PvE per se. And PvP is a preferred taste in this game, but I wanted to show you guys something else, right? And it's really crazy. I already have a Pahkan build that I'm making, but this Nimble holster is insane. Hold on. See. Okay. I didn't think this was gonna be as relevant as it is, right? Nimble holster was a great holster from the Division 1. It was just a high-end holster that was named, right? But they brought it back as an exotic in Division 2. It's called Bob and Weave. You receive repairs of 5% of your total armor for every 1 meter run in cover to cover. Damage taken while doing a cover to cover is healed over 10 seconds. So not only do you receive repairs while you're running, but whatever damage you receive is healed. And this is based on the amount of armor you have. As you can see, I have 1.5 mil, which is really good in the Division 2. If you have 1.5 million armor, that's pretty much great for PvP. It's really good for PvE. And especially this, because I have a ton of weapon damage here. Okay, I'm gonna go over the build in a second, but I'm using the named new SMG and also the Pahkan. But let me just show you the gameplay, then we'll go over the build in a second because it is insane, pretty much invincible. And this is like one of the most difficult missions, warrant my certain death, right? So first of all, the Pahkan is hitting extra hard right there, and this weapon is great in general. Okay, so let's just go cover to cover, and you'll see that you could just. You don't need to use any skills, right? You don't need to use any skills, which is why this SMG works really good too. Because the SMG requires that you don't use skills. Because whenever a skill is on cooldown, or whatever, is when it works the best. Or when a skill is not on cooldown, see?
Denied.
Alright, alright, that was my bad. I was a little bit too excited. But that just tells you that you have to stay within the cover to cover move. If you get stopped or caught up, it's not gonna work out. So just scratch that little footage that you just saw of me getting murked. And look at what I'm showing you right now. Because even if you have the purple flame on you, it's not gonna matter. Right? Because of the bonus armor that you get along with this. See? Check that out. Boom. Be back. Be back already. You know, if they keep hitting you, it's fine. It's fine. You just gotta persevere and stick with it. Alright. You wanna rack them. You wanna rack those what you call it? Those kills up with the Pahkan and reload so you can get unlimited, almost unlimited rounds in one magazine. Like goes up to like 180 or something like that per kill. I mean, not per kill, but it goes up to 180 depending on how many kills you get. I think this is just a really good, fun build, and it's really strong. It's not only survival, it's a whole bunch of damage involved with it. Because the Pahkan hits so hard, and that SMG hits really hard. Barely ever have to use any skills. I was really amazed at this. Yep, and that's the first area. So I'm just gonna go through this second area real quick, and then I'm gonna go through the build because I want to just showcase how good this works. Quick tip with the Pahkan, you want to make sure you overhaul that with damage. Anything besides damage is like the Pahkan is just average, right? Because overall the Pahkan is a really good LMG. The variant feels like an assault rifle, like an AK. You never stop firing. Alright. You going, buddy? And you never want to use your skills unless you have to, right? Don't use your skills unless you have to. This way, you lose damage for using the SMG. Using the Pahkan is okay, but yeah.
destroyed. Weak point destroyed.
So I would like to have some reload speed with this. That's one thing about this Pahkan that's kind of whack to me. The reload speed. So the great thing about this cover to cover moves is you can go pretty much almost anywhere. Nice.
Weak point destroyed. Structural damage to purple flame.
Let's go.
System detected. Explosion risk inevitable.
Agent, get out of there. Push through the main gates ahead. We need to find Andrews.
Alright, I think this is a good spot to talk about it. So, okay, now, as you can see, that was amazing, right? It was fun. You pretty much don't have to worry about dying on heroic difficulty. But yeah, I'm using the Pahkan, the new exotic LMG, and the Purist, the converted SMG variant, which is one of my favorite SMGs overall. And the specialization I'm using is Firewall. One reason I'm using Firewall specialization is because one of the perks on the tree is that it gives you, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and go back to Brooklyn so I can show you what this specialization does, because it's very significant to this build. Okay, I like how they took away that animation. You automatically get up in here. So as you can see, I have LMG damage. I can get 15% of that and 15% of the machine gun damage. Make sure you have those selected. But here's the beauty of this, right? It says right here you have something called Bull Rush. 30% bonus armor, plus 30% bonus armor during cover to cover move. This helps a lot with your survivability and overall the synergy of this build. And plus, whenever you lose an armor bar, whenever you lose armor, you set enemies on fire within 5 meters. Disabled in PvP. It used to not be, which was broken. But yeah, if you check out the build, I made sure I stacked a lot of weapon damage. Okay, you don't have to use y'all gear, but I just prefer y'all gear because I like the way it looks, I like what it does, and it's basically usable in PvP and PvE. This is exclusive to the Dark Zone, so, or conflict caches. Once you play matches and they give you those, you open up, you have a chance to get y'all gear. Anyways, it gives you 10% Has Pro and then 10% weapon damage. Now, I could actually use a Sokolov chest piece instead of this chest piece, because there's a mask called the Hollow Man mask that grants health damage, which is multiplicative alongside damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover. You see, this is the named mask called the Hollow Man, and it gives you 14% health damage. So you can utilize this because health damage works against chungas, against any enemy that has health, or any enemy gadget that has health, like robotic dogs and such. And this also helps when you're playing in PvP. After you shred their armor, their health gets shredded quickly afterwards. So anything that has a health bar, this is what affects that multiplicative. If you want, you can swap between them, right, and get a Sokolov chest piece. But the chest piece talent I'm using is called Overwatch. You can use another talent as well. See, there are multiple ways to do this, okay? Like, there's a chest piece called Hunter Killer. It's a named chest piece that gives you Perfect Intimidate. You can also use regular Intimidate. Intimidate, while you have bonus armor, gain 1 stack each second up to a max of 10. Each stack increases weapon damage by 4% enemies within 10 meters. So when you have bonus armor, when you go up on enemies and get close, you're going to retain that damage against them. But Overwatch allows you to get weapon damage for being in cover for 10 seconds, right? So increase you and your allies' total weapon damage and skill damage by 12% as long as you remain in cover to cover moves. But, so it's your choice. For this, I think I'm going to swap to the Intimidate because the backpack talent I have is great as well. Adrenaline Rush. You have a perfect version of this as well. But this works as such that whenever you're within 10 meters of an enemy, you gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds. And it stacks up to 3 times. So this continuously repeats after the 5-second cooldown. That's like nothing. Which is what helps with the survivability. So not only are you getting your armor back, you're getting bonus armor, you're getting damage, everything. And that's why I have Sokolov, because it gives you 10% SMG damage for the Purist, and the Contractor's Gloves for the LMG damage for the Pahkan. Alright, plus the 8% damage to armor. I added Walker Harrison Company for some more weapon damage. So as you can see, I have a lot of weapon damage on the build. The Nimble holster itself has crit hit chance and crit hit damage. And that's what you want rolled everywhere. Crit chance, crit damage if you can. Now, the Pahkan, they buffed this. Because at first, they had this talent where each kill with this weapon gains a stack of 75% base magazine size, increase to the next magazine up to 4 stacks. So this is why you can get almost 200 rounds in one magazine. I said to myself this wasn't enough, and I made a video about it. So they buffed it, and they gave it some great exotic attachments. Pahkan Optic has 15% weapon damage. That is insane. Then you have 20 rounds plus 15% crit chance for the muzzle and 10% reload speed. I wish this was more because the reload is really slow on this. But it has targets out of cover damage. I haven't even re-rolled this yet. Matter of fact, let me do that right now. So if you go to the crafting station, you go to your weapons, you go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, here we go. You can reconfigure this, right? If you have the exotic components and the materials. So let me see if I get what I need. Health damage. Nope. So let's do it again. The goal is to try to get targets out of cover damage and damage to armor. There we go. Boom. That right there is the the god roll that you want. And get this, I wasn't even using this in the gameplay. Why is it only? It's only okay. It is 6%. So this damage to armor and targets out of cover damage is what you need, and then you can optimize it further. Okay, it says that I need these outcast materials. So if you need more materials, go to the optimization and get what you need. Upgrade this further. Craft again. Craft again. I don't know how many they said I needed, but yeah. The optimize. Okay. Now I need flags to do all of this, but I feel like I had to now because of how everything was working. So yeah, there it is. The Pahkan maxed out with targets out of cover damage, damage to armor. And look, you can either get targets out of cover damage or damage to armor on the SMG. It always comes with 21% critical hit chance. There's nothing you can do about that, right? So that's the secondary I'm using. Purist. It has perfect streamline on it. Increase your weapon damage by 47% with no skills when no skills are on cooldown. So this is why you don't use skills during this carnage when you're using the Purist. So you can always have that 47% weapon damage. And that is the build. Let me show you the stats. Okay, 50% crit chance and 125% crit damage. That's with the Pahkan. And then with the Purist, I have 60% crit chance and 145% crit damage, which is really good. Somebody else is going to help you out when they have the Coyote's Mask, so you'll get more crit there. And the skills I'm using are just DPS skills. This EMP Sticky Bomb has a short cooldown. It disrupts enemies and gets them off kilter. And then you have the decoy, which is great for cover to cover because then you confuse enemies. They'll shoot at the decoy and not shoot at you, which was really good in the area where the turret spawned on that mission. So yeah, this build is awesome. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. I'm probably gonna swap this out and make sure I have Intimidate instead of leadership, instead of Overwatch, and just use a Sokolov chest piece. And then for the mask, I'm gonna swap that to the Hollow Man. So stay tuned for an update or not. That'll do it for this one. It was a quick one, but not really. Let me know what type of builds you've been making with the patch, and are you enjoying Battle for Brooklyn so far? I'll see you in the next one, fam. Be right out.